Alright, welcome back to another painting tutorial. This time, as I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail, we're doing some of the terrain from Kill Team Octarius. Should be out next week, but I have my friendly local game store's promotional copy. I'm painting it up so we can have a full set of it on release day. So I'm gonna get to painting this. I'm gonna show you the colors we're gonna use here, because I did a test piece, so I have them all. It was primed black, and then it was dry brushed all over with plate mail metal. I chose to not put that in the video because it's dry brushing. You just get it on your brush, go all over it. You guys know how that works. So then we're going to use some. We're going to use this first. Some Vallejo model color, gunmetal gray. Then we're going to go into two bronze colors, Screaming Bell and Brass Scorpion. Then we're going to use some Abyssal Black. This is just the black I grabbed first. It could be any black. Mostly, for our purposes, blacks are all the same. Then some Ushabti Bone, some Mephiston Red, and then finally, Typhus Corrosion. And each piece of terrain is a little bit different. They have a couple personal details on them, so we might add some more colors on after that, or after the fact, just to make this one unique. But we'll have to see. So let's go ahead and get started with the first color. Like I said, dry brushed all over with plate mail metal after a prime in black. But the first color we're going to start with is Vallejo model color, gunmetal gray. If you wanted to use the Citadel equivalent of this, I would go for Lead Belcher probably. That would be a good option. So I'm just going to put some of this out on a palette here. And so what I'm going to do is just pick out some of the details here with this color. So let's see. I'm going to do the door here. And this is it might not come across super well on camera. Hopefully it does. Yeah, I think you can see the difference there. One, this silver is darker, but also it's going to have a more solid color because we didn't dry brush it on. We actually brushed it on. So we'll have it'll have more consistent coverage, and so you'll be able to see the difference once we do a couple more panels. And I'm not being too specific on what I do with this color. I'm basically looking for mechanisms, so I did that because it's the wheel of the door. I might do this thing right here. And then I'm just going to look for some flat panels to pick out with this. We want kind of big chunks of this color just kind of floating around in a couple places. So that's what I'm looking for here. So I'm going to do this. Let's see what else we got here. So like this, I'll do this in this color. And this can, because it's terrain, it can be messy. You don't have to get completely in the lines all the time, so this should be a pretty quick process. Alright, what else? And this is just kind of up to your discretion, just however much you want to use these colors to mix it up. You can use more colors also if you want to go and make your terrain really colorful. I'm going with mostly neutral colors aside from the red, so that's what I think looks good for orcs. But as with everything, it is up to you and your personal choice. So let's see, I'm just looking at my test piece I have here. I think I'll do these in this color. This kind of diamond plate stuff. That'll be this. So I'm going to do this diamond plate here. I'm going to do this diamond plate and that diamond plate. They're a little different, but they're all diamond plate. I'm going to do these three, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, so that's all done. I also, if you're following along exactly with this video, which I know some people do, some people don't, either one is perfectly fine. I also painted these hinges here in that dark silver and the hatch right here in dark silver. So now we're going to go on to the red. We're going to use Mephiston Red for this. This is sort of your standard medium red if you want to use a different brand. True Red, I think, might be the Army Painter color that goes to Mephiston Red. Otherwise, I'm not fully up on all the other colors, but So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to do several things. I'm going to pick out faces in this color. So these two right here, and there might be another one somewhere. We'll look. These spikes here are going to be red. And then the tanks here are going to be in red. So, go ahead and get started here. This is really the only color where you need to be careful. All the other colors, if you accidentally go over the lines, it'll just look like a bit of corrosion or some rust or something like that. This, if we get some red, like kind of on a part where it doesn't belong, doesn't really look right. I mean, I guess it could look like messy paint that the orcs used, but the problem is it just looks like we were messy with our paint. No one thinks like, oh, that orc was messy with that paint. So, we want to try to avoid getting our red paint all over everything if possible. The weathering we're going to do later will help a little bit with that. But also we can just go over any mistakes with another color if we absolutely have to. So I'm just going to get this last bit of this face. And then I'll just show an example of the other stuff we're painting. And then I'll shut the camera off, finish this up, and we'll go to the next step. But, so, now we're doing these spikes in this color as well. So just make sure to get all the way around these spikes. And you want to get the back as well. Spin this around. There we go. Alright. And then we're going to get these tanks. So, some of these tanks, in fact, every tank I've encountered so far, has some sort of patch on it, like it does right here. I don't paint those in red. Here's another one up here. So I'm just painting the main body of the tank in this color. And then sometimes I'll leave the patches just plain silver. And sometimes I'll, when we get to our bronze, I'll fill those in with some bronze. So yeah, I'm just going to finish this, just wipe off that little mistake there, and that's fine. I'm going to finish that tank. I'm going to paint this face, the rest of the spikes, this tank here. We've got a face on a tank, so that face will be a different color, because I don't want to do red on red right there. And then anything up here, doesn't look like anything up here to do besides the backside of the spikes. So that'll be it. Oh, and I should also say I'm not focusing detail on the inside of here. I'll put a couple bronze, I'll do the, like, when we do the bronze and stuff, but I'm not super focused on it because when it's sitting on a table, most people aren't going to see the inside. So yeah, I'll finish that red up, and we'll come back and go to the next step. Alright, so our red is all finished up. As you can see, I did the two faces there, the tank, the spikes, and then this other tank here. And yeah, that was it. Alright, so now we're going to go on, and we're going to do the black. And I'm using this D&D branded Abyssal Black from, I think these are Vallejo they contract with. I can never remember. But any old black will do. Like I said, for our purposes, all blacks are the same. I'm sure the real artists out there will tell you that every black is different and you need to pick the right black for the right situation and all that. But for us, it doesn't matter. So we're just going to paint in all the cables that we see hanging about in this color. And I think that's it. I think that's the only thing. I was trying to refer back to my to my test piece that I did, and I'm pretty sure I just did the cables. So that's what I'm going to do here. So you just have to pay attention and look around to find all the cables. They do like to hide them. And I'm just trying to not nick anything else. But again, if we get a fleck of black somewhere that it shouldn't be, not a big deal, because the it'll just look like a bit of, you know, chip or something. So, alright, I'm just going to go through and get all these cables painted. And then we will come back and move on to the bronze. Alright, so we're back and we've done all our cabling here. You can see we did some at the top, there's some in the front, and there was some over here. I also painted in these pipes that were connecting to this tank. So now we're going to go into the first of our bronzes or brass colors, and we're going to use Screaming Bell for this. Give it a good shake. And for that, we're just going to start picking out panels and painting them. So again, kind of just whatever you want to do for these. I'm just going to kind of randomly pick some and just go for it. We want to have these spread out on our miniature so that we get good contrast everywhere. We'll paint this this patch on the tank in with this color. Why not? And then let's see. What else? How about this beam right here? That'll do. We'll just do the front of the beam, that's fine. And then this like, I'm not even sure what you'd call it, this grating or whatever. All of that stuff, all the grating, we're gonna paint in with this color. And this bit of diamond plate right here, even though we did the other diamond plate in silver, we're gonna do this one in bronze. Just paint that in. Like that. Good. And let's see what else. Let us see what else. That might be good for the front. Then I think I'll do this patch. What do I want to do? I'm going to do this large patch in this color. Why not? And again, you don't have to worry about getting right up to the edge or anything. The corrosion we're going to use later will cover any of those little mistakes up. You do want to try to get a smooth coat though. And let's see what else. Maybe, oh, there's some grating back here. We'll paint that. And a little bit more of it down here. Alright, I think that looks, let's do, I painted this the darker silver, but let's just go over it in this color. Why not? Alright, and then let's just take a look at the top here. So I'm going to do this big panel here in the middle in this color. And then I might pick a couple more things out, but you get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. Anything else that I paint in this color, I will talk through when I come back, but yeah, I'm just going to finish this color, let it dry for a minute, and then we'll come back and do the next step. Alright, so we're back, and I did just another one of those plates up there. I did this, and then I did some details on the inside of the building. So, now we're just going to do a really quick color. This is Ushabti Bone, and we're just going to get any cloth that's on this miniature. There's very little on this one. There's a little bit more on the other one. Let's see, I don't even think we have any on the front. None on the inside, so it's just right here. Just where they've wrapped up a pipe or something. Just gonna throw that in there. I think that's the only spot that it appears. So we'll just roll straight into the next color. No reason to put a cut. And that's going to be Brass Scorpion. And what we're going to do with this is so there's a whole bunch of rivets and bolts and stuff on this thing. Any of the rounded end bolts, that's what we're going to use this color for. The hexagonal or pentagonal ones, whatever they are, hexagonal, I'm purposely not going to do those because they take a while to paint because of all their sides. And this is supposed to be terrain painting quickly. So we're not going to worry about that. And if we go a little bit over the edge of these, again, it's not a problem. Our weathering will take care of that in just a second. So I'm just going to go through and paint these. Oh, also, this building has several instances of this, whether it's a spring or what. There's a bunch of springs all over this building. So or maybe this might be a screw, I'm not really sure. But any instance of that, we're going to paint that color as well. So I'm just going to go through here and do all these rounded rivets. This is the step that will take the longest. I also just noticed some more cloth right here, so we'll do that in Ushabti Bone in a second. But yeah, I'm going to finish going through and getting all these rivets, and I might even miss some. Again, it's not the end of the world. Just trying to bring visual interest into this piece. So if you don't get exactly every single rivet, it's not the end of the world. We just want different colors around in different places so that when we go through with our weathering, they pop through. So I'll finish this up, let it dry. I'm going to let it completely dry this time, because the next step will be the weathering. Alright, so we're back, and now we're going to move on to our Typhus Corrosion. This is the most fun part, in my opinion. I will just mention really quick, I used some, it wasn't worth filming because it was so short, but I used some Caliban green to paint this jerry can right here, and then I used some Dorn yellow to just put a little bit of color on those light bulbs, and then we'll come back to those light bulbs after we do the corrosion. But we're going to go for our corrosion now, Typhus Corrosion again. And I'm going to get a big old brush, one that you don't care too much about, and we're just going to get a bunch of this on our brush and just go to town. Put it all in here, and this is going to completely cover all the colors we've just done, but you'll see why in just a second. So don't be alarmed, you're not completely destroying your paint job. So this will start to dry though, so we need to not do a huge portion at once, so I think that looks good. We're just going to get regular old paper towel here and just start taking it back off. So however you want. I usually do a combination of rubbing and dabbing. Just get in there, get it back off. Some of it will obviously stay. And then you're left with a look kind of like that. So you've got all this grime and stuff in the cracks and on some of the surfaces, but not completely covering everything. I know probably a lot of people, I'm just going to keep doing the next section while I talk. A lot of people will say that you could use oil washes for this. This is something that oil washes could definitely do, and I would not disagree. However, I like to make my videos more or less so that a person could walk down to their local Games Workshop store or their friendly local game store, and pretty much every friendly local game store has a Games Workshop paint section. Obviously a Games Workshop store would, and so I just like to use paints as much as I can that come from that, so that if you want to follow along, you can just go and do the same thing. There are plenty of videos out there, though, if you want to use oil washes instead. Go find yourself an oil wash video, and it'll be much the same as this sort of technique. You won't be rubbing it off in the same way. You'll be using a couple different things you could use to get it off, but regardless, we're going to carry on like this because that's how I like to do it. So I'm just going to do this all the way around the miniature. It's kind of up to you how much you leave on or take off. I like to leave a fair amount on there, as you can see. But that's what we'll end up with. So I'm going to carry on doing this all over the miniature, and then we'll come back, put a couple finishing touches on it, and then we'll be done. Alright, so we're back, having done all the corrosion. As you can see, we've gone all over the place, gotten it good and in all the nooks and crannies. The one thing you can focus on, like I did, I made sure that this mechanism was nice and clean, and then I made sure that the mechanism up here was nice and clean. That's just a little, like, you know, storytelling thing, like the parts that are moving and being used would be less corroded, perhaps. And so, but personal preference. So now I'm going to use some Cassandra Yellow, and I don't actually know if this is going to work because this is an idea I got mid-paint job here. But I'm just going to put some of this in and around these light bulbs to see if it'll sort of act like a glow coming from these bulbs. They're a little dirty. I've made sure to rub off some of the paint from them. So I rubbed off some of that whatever color we used, Dorn Yellow. So we'll see. It might not look that great, but I think it should be fine. But that will do it for this episode. We'll pull the other one I did earlier down, see how they look together. If they'll fit in camera here. Yep, I'd say they look pretty similar in terms of wear and tear. They'll go well on the battlefield together. So that is how I would paint the Kill Team terrain. Still planning on making a video on the whatever they're called, the Deathcore of Krieg. I'll get that video up shortly, hopefully. But just wanted to knock this one out real quick, get this out. I think a lot of people will probably pretty much know how they're going to paint their orcs and their Krieg, but they might be wondering how to paint terrain, so I thought I'd get this out. But thank you everybody for watching. I very much appreciate it, and I will see you on the next one.